Ross, we are back for the third video. What a day it's been of wrestling news.
It's been a fantastic day of wrestling news, Jack. I don't know what else to say here. I've said that so many times over the course of 3 videos already.
It's been jam-packed. I don't know either. I'll just get into the headlines.
Cultaholic Wrestling brought to you by Shackets. When you can't decide whether to wear a jacket, or a shirt, or a coat.
First of all, is SummerSlam 2021 changing location? As well as that, we have reports of more NXT call-ups apparently coming very, very soon. And finally, a released WWE Star is still working for WWE. Sort of. We'll explain later on. So yes, first of all, let's talk about the biggest party of the summer, SummerSlam, which is expected to be announced soon for the new Allegiant, am I pronouncing that right? Stadium in Las Vegas, Nevada. But it's been speculated that WWE may reevaluate these SummerSlam plans because the big Manny Pacquiao versus Errol Spence Jr. boxing match has been announced for the night before. And because of this, I think they're a bit worried about how many fans they'll draw on that weekend, Ross.
Is there still a crossover?
Well, that's what I was thinking as well. That's what I was thinking. And also, what I learned when we were in Las Vegas was, do you remember how it was like, oh, AEW Starcast is going to be in Caesar's Palace, and I was thinking, wow, all of Caesar's Palace is going to be, and I did not realise how big those casinos were. We had to walk for ages through Caesar's Palace before we got to the wrestling bit, and there could have been multiple different conventions happening at the same time.
On the way to Double or Nothing as well, we got lost. We went the wrong way. I was leading the pack, and I took us the wrong bloody way.
Oh,
the places were that big.
In the MGM Grand?
Yeah, incredible scenes. But I can see why they're doing it, of course, because people only have so much money, especially in the midst of a global pandemic. So it's probably wise to look elsewhere. Just find a beach. That's what we all want, isn't it? Get SummerSlam on a beach.
That would be fantastic.
Whitley Bay, come on, come over.
Whitley Bay. Apparently the idea behind SummerSlam this year was to hold it in a tourist city where they could expect fans to fly in and help fill the stadium, as they usually would in places like Los Angeles and New York, where SummerSlam's recently been held. But apparently WWE have also discussed this new stadium in Vegas as a potential WrestleMania host city for the near future, which honestly I think is probably quite likely, actually. Vegas.
And also very exciting, because that would be the first time that WrestleMania has been back to Vegas since WrestleMania 9, would it not be?
I think that's, I can't think of another Vegas WrestleMania.
Toga party, everybody. I'm ready for one.
Jim Ross on a camel.
I'm ready to see Adnan Virk. Adnan, Julius Caesar.
I think it was Adnan last night on Raw. It was one of the commentators anyway. So the main event was a women's tag title match, right, between the same two teams that have been wrestling for a long time. And Reginald went up the ramp because Shayna went, "You're ruining this, Reggie, get out." And as he was walking up the ramp, like an explosion went off, probably caused by Alexa Bliss. And he fell back down the ramp, like holding his face. And on commentary, one of them, and I think it might have been Adnan, goes, "What a crazy explosion," like that.
Yeah, that was Adnan. That sounds like Adnan. If he's not going, "Whoa!" he's saying, "What a crazy explosion." He's very basic in his commentary. And I know that's rich coming from me after my past behind the commentary booth. But if he's not making a song reference, he's just going, "Whoa!"
He's not a wrestling fan, is he? I'm guessing. Yeah. I don't know. Anyway.
He doesn't know the moves of the wrestlers, does he? Bless him.
Let's give him time. Anyway, let's move swiftly on to WWE releasing a liability waiver for those attending live events. It's an assumption of risk and indemnity agreement. And I'll read it very quickly. I'll whiz through it. The waiver says, "I voluntarily agreed to attend this event. I understand and expressly acknowledge that attendance is potentially dangerous due to, among other things, risk of spreading or acquiring COVID-19 or similar infectious disease, and other unanticipated and unexpected dangers may arise from my attendance at the event." So I understand this. I understand the COVID-19 part. I don't particularly understand because you'd assume risk of just attending an event with a lot of people anyway, surely.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I guess they have to do it in these times with COVID and whatnot, but they had the same thing for sort of WrestleMania as well, didn't they? I don't know what precautions they can put in place for events these days. Everyone's just gagging to get back to normal now, aren't they? So just get your vaccine, wear your masks, keep your distance where possible, have a great time. Don't hug.
I think ours might be, because obviously we've not been offered I certainly haven't been offered the vaccine yet.
No, me neither.
No, and I think they're down to people in their early 30s now.
32, Jack. So we've got to be in the next couple of weeks, surely.
Yeah, absolutely. How do you get it? Via text?
You get a letter, don't you, from your GP going, you got to go here.
Fair enough.
You ring up and book a time.
Oh, I'm quite excited for that.
You're excited for the vaccine, are you?
Well, I'm excited for the freedom that the vaccine will afford me.
Yeah. I'm not looking forward to the side effects, mate. I reckon I'll get hit by a train.
But it only lasts a few days, apparently, anyway. Yeah. Anyway, that's not even wrestling news. We'll get on to some wrestling news now. More NXT call-ups, according to Fightful, are coming very soon. Are you saying oh no because they'll get treated badly by the booking team?
What do we know from NXT call-ups of Christmas past, Jack? They all go wrong. All of them. Every single one. Name a good NXT call-up.
In recent times.
Well, yeah, let's not go back to Seth Rollins.
I was going to say, yeah.
The generation after that.
Well, some of them have had windows of success, like Kevin Owens and that. And again, that was a long time ago now. But in recent times...
There's a good recent
one.
Yeah.
One. Yeah. Bianca Belair. Right, anyway, according to Fightful, WWE are planning more NXT call-ups to Raw and SmackDown. There's no details on who, when or how, but talent from NXT and NXT UK have been considered. Now, I can't think of who immediately because it doesn't seem that long to me since they last called up people from NXT. But this comes off the back of Rick Boogs appearing on SmackDown and driving Pat McAfee wild. Did you see this?
Rightly so. I'm a big fan. Let's forget about Rick Boogs or Rick Bouges, however you pronounce that name. Let's get him back to Eric Bugenhagen.
That was a better name. That was a better name. Of course it is. I don't understand
having Eric Bugenhagen next to Shinsuke Nakamura, that's all the syllables you need for a great gimmick and a great tag team.
I think that Eric or Rick Boogs is in a better position than most because people who come up from NXT who do all right aren't the ones who are known as like super indie work rate wrestlers. Look at Elias has done fine on the main roster. He's suited the main roster better than he ever really did NXT anyway. And I think maybe... Is this just because they both play the guitar? Am I just doing
It's weird though, because you say Elias, but Elias when he was being a heel on the main roster, having to go at crowds and whatnot, that would have worked lovely in NXT.
Yeah.
It was just the version they portrayed him as in NXT was just weird, wasn't it? How he just walked around.
They were trying to make him too mysterious and cool.
Yeah, but when he was just being a proper poo house heel,
yeah,
that would have fit in NXT, no bother. But worrying times if you're on the NXT or NXT UK roster.
Pray you don't get called up to the bigger show. Now let's talk about last night's Raw. We've mentioned it in the other news videos today, but more last-minute rewrites happened this week. I mean, it's every week, isn't it, Ross? I know.
It is every week, yeah.
Or is it just because you're always doing news with me on a Tuesday? It seems like that.
Tuesday is the only day I do news on this channel, I think, these days. And every single week without fail, it's Raw rewrites, last minute, Vince McMahon, blah, 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 blah.
Well, this one's extreme because according to PW Insider, there was yet again a lot of ripping up of the script of Raw all day, and apparently a lot of the first hour wasn't set in stone until about 35 to 45 minutes before they went on air. I can't think of any other TV show like it. In terms of the planning, the last minute rewrites that go into it. I mean, I'm assuming there's other shows that happens to, but
to your point, Jack.
Go on.
I was watching a documentary about Friends. Remember Friends from Friends?
Yeah.
They would rewrite the episodes while they were getting shot. Because someone would say an ad-lib line just off the cuff, they would just make something up, and then the producers, the directors, whatever, go, yeah, I like that better than the thing that was on the script. Let's keep that in. So I reckon it's just commonplace in TV, and us wrestling fans, we overreact.
That's quite good, and that's quite a good point. But then Friends wasn't unfolding live as we watched it. It was pre-recorded.
I guess not. No, yeah, it was pre-recorded. So
I'm guessing that it causes a lot more panic behind the scenes with WWE. And I'm surprised to read this report, which suggests that the first hour wasn't that set in stone. Because for me, the end of the show was very weird. Because there was the women's tag title match, and then the Reginald and the explosion and all that, and then it just ended. I was like, what? It was very bizarre. I'm guessing the theory that it was a title match in the main event, a women's tag title match, but that title scene has not been good.
No, it hasn't.
No, so I don't really understand. But it did lead to an intergender match set for next week's Raw, where Shayna Baszler has challenged Reginald to a match on the show. Are you looking forward to this match?
I don't want to go too far on this one, Jack, but just looking at that match on paper, Reggie versus Shayna Baszler, it's a potential match of the year, Cam. And I'm not even joking, because Reggie Imagine Reggie flipping around via Shayna Baszler, throwing him around. Just imagine the devastation we'll see. Reggie's going to make Shayna look like a star, hopefully. And hopefully it doesn't end up being Reggie just jumping around Shayna and Shayna not being able to catch Reggie. That's the big terrifying thing for me here.
I think that Alexa Bliss will possess Reginald halfway through the match. That's my prediction. And she'll use him to defeat Shayna Baszler. And then Shayna Baszler will come out in 5 years' time in a shoot interview and go, that was the worst thing I've ever been a part of. But we'll have to wait and see. And I just can't wait. But finally, we've got some WWE Games news, because we mentioned how Leo Rush is still kind of working for WWE, even though he's not. And that is because he's doing the old mocap, the motion capturing of moves for WWE 2K22. Since being released from WWE, of course, he's been working primarily for MLW. He's appeared in a few other promotions as well. But it looks like he's still putting in that sweet $2K by doing the mocap. I'm always curious about who they choose to do. Do you think it's because he's really athletic and flexible and agile and stuff?
Really good at doing the rest, and yeah, he could do all of the moves of all of the wrestlers, surely, on WWE's roster these days.
Then why didn't they have him wrestle when he was in WWE? They just had him run away and be Bobby Lashley's manager.
I miss those days, mate. The hype man.
Do you? He was good at it.
That was a lovely part. I know MVP and Bobby are maybe better, but what am I trying to compare this to? I look back more fondly at Leo and Bobby together. I just found them fun. Maybe it's because they were funnier and not as serious and not as World Championship-ish.
maybe it's also because Raw is kind of bad across the board these days, so we're associating the MVP Lashley thing with just a bad show, even though they're quite a good aspect of it. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. Anyway, we've got some other stuff coming up on the channel this week. Myself, Ross, and Andrew, that horrible man apparently.
Terrible.
Apparently so. We'll be doing 9 pitches for AEW Double or Nothing. We'll also be putting forward some predictions for Double or Nothing as well. And then I believe that Adam Pacitti will be back in time to stream his reactions, but don't take my word for it. Check.
He is.
He
I've
is.
looked
He
at
is.
the schedule. He is. He's on
Okay.
there.
He'll be reacting to Double or Nothing as well on Sunday.
Correct.
Yes, absolutely. So lots of stuff coming out, and the podcast on Friday as per usual. And I don't think there's anything else more. Have you got anything else more?
Cultaholic Wrestling is brought to you by Shackets.
Shackets.
Because sometimes you can't be asked to decide whether to wear a coat or a jacket or a shirt.
We'll see.
The weather, Jack. Yeah, it's unpredictable, isn't it? You think it might be cold outside. It's very grey today, but it turns out it's quite tepid. You know.
Has it gone grey? Oh,
It's gone grey.
it was sunny before. Well, it proves
Grey
your
in
point
May.
exactly.
Yeah.
We'll see you very soon. Thanks very much for watching.
Right.